There we go. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to day 5 of what has been an absolutely incredible week of such courageous, brave women sharing incredible, amazing stories of trauma and triumph. And I know I say this I've opened up every video with this exact same thing, and just because it's so true. I'm blown away by the courage, the bravery, the incredible stories, the vulnerability, the women that have been sharing. Like, my heart is so full. I can't believe, and I like probably 75% of these women I don't even know. Like, they are complete strangers to me, like Patti, who we're going to talk to today, complete strangers. And they all came forward and said, I'd love to be part of your event From Hell to Happiness. And I'm just amazed, just amazed. And I think after Patty's video and then I'm done, I think I'm just going to cry a whole lot and then drink Fireball or something. I don't know. I'm going to go and celebrate. But this is the last video, the last day of the week, and it's been nothing short of amazing. So today we have Patti, and Patti is going to share her story about how she was married to a raging alcoholic for like 30 years or something, right, Patti?
Yeah,
For
30
30
years.
years. She's going to tell us a little bit about that, what she went through emotionally, how she left, and then her healing journey. So, Patti, thank you so much for being here and for volunteering to share your story. I'm truly, truly grateful. Thank you so much for being here.
Well, thanks for having me. It's an amazing opportunity. And just the stories that I've been listening to all week has been crazy and amazing. And the courage and bravery for everybody that's actually participated, it is amazing. And we definitely need more events like this, to heal people.
I think we should have more. I think
Yeah,
we
totally, totally,
I
totally.
think we probably will. So tell us,
Good, good, good.
let's go back to, I don't know how many years ago, but let's go back to your marriage. So we're not going to go through the entire 30 years, obviously,
No.
but let's touch upon a little bit about, when your marriage was good and then when it started going bad. And then like, let's just talk a little bit about that.
So we were young when we were together. Like I was like 22, and he was like 24, a little bit older than me. And like when you're in your 20s, like drinking and stuff like that was like acceptable. It's like we were at the bars partying, that kind of stuff, and just the normal stuff. And then we bought a house like in our late 20s or whatever. And the partying kind of went to house parties and stuff like that. And he wasn't really like a big bar drinker. He was more like a home drinker. And we did a lot of things. We had a pretty good life. Like, vacations, houses, like whatever. So it was good. And then like around like, I mean, he's always had a problem and I always knew that it was there. And I just never really wanted to, I guess, admit the red flags.
Okay.
And I guess I thought that eventually he would just grow up and stop, like just to control it. And not that it was like, but then it just progressed. So figure like 2008 is when things really started going really shitty. And I was sick. I had a really stressful job and I was sick for like over a year. And I had migraines for like an entire year. And I was going at the doctor and stuff like that. And I had a stressful job. My home life was stressful because at this point, his alcoholism was really like, starting to rage. It was like, he would keep me up at night. He was like, the radio had like on volume was just like you was sleeping. He didn't know if it was night or day half the times. And he would like pretty much torture me as I was sleeping and, trying to rest. Like, yeah, he like would bust in the room and ask you questions. It was just that part is like, I still can't even believe how I survived through all of that torture of like just constantly being like interrupted with sleep and stuff like that. And I need sleep. Like that's a huge important thing for me. So like things just started going bad. And I remember one specific incident, it was in January. And I was watching TV and he was in the other room or whatever. And he used to do like fucked up stuff, like would unplug the TV. So I was watching the TV, whatever, and he would just come and unplug the TV, like for no reason.
Okay.
And I remember it just turned into a huge fight, like a huge, huge fight. And I wound up throwing something at him that wound up clipping him in the head and like cut his face open. And all
Oh
I
my
could think about,
God.
yeah. It was a bad situation. Like I just still even can't believe Like, and he would always get hurt, like always. So at this point, like in the middle of the fight, he's like bleeding all over the place, the blood's flaring all over my house. And like, all I could think of is I am in so much trouble because I just did this to him. So, it's like, it's crazy.
Right.
So it just turned out to be like very ugly at that point. And that's when he kind of said like he needed to go into rehab. And that was like the first step of like trying to get him better, healing, recovery. And you don't realize like the advertisers make alcohol very glamorous, and alcohol is not very glamorous at all. It ruins a lot of lives. It's definitely like it's amazing how it really can affect so many people. And it's so shameful too. Just on a side note of Alcohol's Anonymous is based on being an anonymous to it. Like the stigmatism of the shame that goes along with alcoholism is still like so horrible when it's promoted everywhere you go. Like, and I remember he wasn't able to drive, and this is kind of like one of the rehab situations. And I remember I driving him to work, and the Corona truck pulls up next to us with the big beach scene, and it's like, I want to drink, and I don't even really drink. So it's like I couldn't imagine somebody who really craves the alcohol, like how that feels to them. So he didn't last very long in that rehab. I mean, he did the whole program or whatever, but he didn't stay sober very long. So that just really became.
How long were you guys married for or together for when he decided to check into rehab to get help for his alcoholism? At what point was that?
Probably like but at least 18 years at that point, because we were together since 90. This is like 2008 is when that happened. So it was a long time of togetherness. So, and he went.
So he realized he had a problem, and he did want to get help for it.
Yeah. And I think he always knows he had a problem. He just didn't know how to fix a why, maybe. Like, and I think that's part of addiction is finding out the why you do the drinking or whatever, the drugs, alcohol, whatever it is. So that didn't last very long. And then it just became just progressively worse. Like the snowball, just like the waking me up, the driving drunk, and all the stuff that comes along with all of that. Cops come into the house because he left the car somewhere, or just a lot of the times I don't remember a lot of the stories what happened, like because you just kind of forget, you block it out, you're like, I don't even know. So it just like I said, it was just like a progressive spiral downhill of various different, and he would be, instead of going to the rehab or going to AA and stuff like that, he would just drink till he's ossified, and then he would go to the hospital and detox there, because detoxing alcohol is very dangerous too. So he was in and out of the hospital like multiple times. I remember literally one time I was so sick of driving him to the hospital, and he would stay for days at the hospital, like detoxing and stuff like that. I was so sick of it. I literally, and he couldn't walk at this point, so he would have to go in a wheelchair. I literally rolled him into the waiting room at the hospital. I gave the lady his name. I said, I got to go move the car. And I never came back. Like, I never went back to go get him. I was like, I couldn't keep doing that anymore.
Oh my God.
So it was just, and he used to shut the heat off on me. Like, so you would wake up in the middle of the night with the house freezing. Like, he would just do you never knew if he was going to leave the stove on. The cat would be left out all night. Like, the door would be open and animals would be in the house. Like,
how many times? So I'm sure during your 30-year marriage, I'm sure there were many times you either wanted to leave him or tried to leave him. Did you ever try to leave him in that 30-year period?
No, I didn't really try to leave him at that point, because I don't have kids. So part of it is like, I didn't have children. So, and then at one point we had an apartment in the house. So I kind of moved upstairs. So we kind of were living a separate life. And that was probably about like 2010. When that kind of happened, where we were living a separate life. And, and you stop bringing them to parties, you stop bringing them to weddings and all that kind of stuff. And then you start to think about it, and you're like, well, what purpose are you serving in my life? Like, I have no partner, I have nobody to do things with. And I just, at that point, I was like, I got to do something to change my world. So then I started just reading a lot of things about, my one book that really changed my life was What Color Is Your Parachute? And that's
Oh,
about like kind of what kind of job, career and stuff, what you really want in your life. And so I did that. And then it just kind of like opened up a lot of things as to who I was and what do I want. And that's a lot, that's a big thing. Like a lot of people don't realize or know who they are.
yeah,
They don't,
you're right.
they have no clue. Like if you ask people, like, you know, people identify themselves who they are based on their job. And
Yeah.
that's not who you are. So I just started doing some soul searching. And one of my little projects that I did was 100 things that I love about me.
Oh,
And,
nice.
you know, I got to like 89, but after realizing I didn't even make the list, I didn't even make the list of things that I love. So like that was a big wake up call to realize like I'm not even ranking on this list of things that I love. So I had to change that. And then that was like the biggest wake up call to me, and started saying, you know what, like things, I have to put me first. So it was like 2016 that like my life really changed. I got an opportunity to go to Washington State to work, and it just really changed my life, because at that point it was the only time that I was ever really by myself. Like I didn't have somebody with me. I wasn't, I have a big family. I always lived with somebody. Like, and that those 5 weeks, I was like, I was like really happy with myself. And then when I came back, I was like, this is no more. I cannot do this. Like, this is not who I am. You're bringing me to points where like I'm acting like a lunatic, and that's not who I am. Like, and because the abuse is like when you're constantly like pushing somebody's buttons, eventually you lash out and you get crazy,
Yeah, you're right.
so yeah, so, and it's behavior that I'm not proud of, like, and it's like I don't want to ever be brought to that point where somebody does that to me again, where I lose control of who I am.
Mhm.
And so then I just, with the books and stuff like that. And then I really found like vision board. That was like the first real thing of a vision board that I did. And it was like more goals and things that I needed to do and change in
Nice.
my life, which that was 4 years ago
That's
on
when you
that vision.
left him? Like, that's when you officially left him, was 4 years
I
ago?
left him in 2000. Well, 2017 was the first vision board I did. And I got him to agree, because he wouldn't agree to sell the house. That was the other thing. So I got him to agree to sell the house in 2018. So it took me a whole year to kind of get that down. And, then I started getting my ducks in a row. I started making sure like everything, everything was in order for me. Like I had to make sure I was safe. So I recommend anybody who's planning on these kind of situations, make sure your stuff is in order. Like, start getting your ducks in a row.
Yeah.
But have a plan before you just act on it. And I know, listen, certain situations people have to get out and they
Yep.
flee, and that's a totally different story. But if you
Yep.
can plan it, plan it. So at that point, then I was like, all right, so those things on that vision board all kind of came true as to what I wanted. And then I just started, he agreed to sell the house, which was amazing. And we sold the house in like a weekend. And yeah. And at that point, I was like meditating more. I was doing yoga. I was journaling, and like just trying to find out who I was. Again, trying to get back on that list of things that I love. I have to be number one on that list.
Yeah.
Today, I am number one on that list.
Yeah.
So, but just the part of understanding who you are and what you want in life is huge. And you don't want to be something for somebody else or do something for somebody else. You want to do it for you, make you happy.
Yeah.
So, and that's really where like that whole path of happiness has started to. And I'll be living in my apartment now for 3 years, and
Yay.
I've never, ever, ever been happier. Like my
So that's
soul.
awesome. So the last you said 2017, so the last what, like 2 3 how many years of your marriage like sucked and weren't really a marriage? Like how long before he finally got the hint that the marriage was actually over and you're going to be checking out pretty soon? Like when did that happen?
I guess the day that we sold the house. Like I
Okay.
still think he's in denial. I still think I am not kidding you. But it was crazy, because it was like when we sold the house, it was right around Christmas time. So it was the 27th of December. Like I literally left him in the house. He was homeless. He had no place to go. And at that point, like he still, I think, was in denial. He still thought we were going to get back together and we're going to,
Wow.
And then he just went so far, like just the path is still not. Finally, the last couple of months, he's finally getting himself back. But
Okay.
those almost these 3 years, it's just been hell. Like he blew all the money that he had. Like he's homeless, like, was homeless. He's not now, but it's just
Like still drinking.
he was still drinking, yes,
Yeah.
until just recently. So, and
Oh,
it was
okay.
like in and out of rehabs and stuff like that. And you don't realize how broken that system is until you try to get somebody help and try to get somebody like, and
I
I
bet.
know it's all, you have to want to do it. And I totally get that. I
Yeah,
understand that. But, sometimes people need a little extra help
they
just
do.
based on what an insurance plan says that you're entitled to,
Yeah, you're
you
absolutely
know?
right. Yeah, and it's nice that, I mean, I don't know what it's like in the States because I'm from Canada. Um but there's AA and there's all kinds of resources and things, and we have relatively free healthcare. People say, well, it's not free, you pay for it through your taxes. I'm like, whatever. It doesn't come out of pocket. So we have lots of resources for things like that. So I don't, and I know for some people they don't have the money to pay for things like that, right? So I think that's probably a big part of why people don't go for take that extra step in getting help, is because they just fucking can't afford it, because nothing's free.
No, and it's very limited on what rehabs and stuff like there are
Yeah,
and stuff like that. Yeah, and you're right. If you have a ton of money, yeah, they'll take you. But the
exactly.
good ones, and I think on Long Island, that's where we're from in New York, there's not a lot of rehabs considering the amount of people here. And even just with the opiate epidemic that we've been just, in, like there's not enough help for these people. And I know that they have to help themselves, but
Yeah. It,
it just has to be easier maybe to
yeah.
get or whatever, and stop taking the shame out of the when you do have these issues and stuff like that, mental health and this,
Yeah.
everyone's like, oh,
Yeah.
sweep it under the rug, don't
Yeah.
tell anybody,
I know, you're
and that's
absolutely right.
the worst thing that we could do, is just to keep saying that this shit is not happening,
Yeah.
you
Just hide.
know
Yeah. Just hide it. She's gonna just give her some. Just throw some pills at her. Give her some medication. She'll be fine. Yeah. Just
and
keep her
that's
drugged.
yeah, and you know what? That prescriptions are just a band-aid. That doesn't fix anything.
I
And if you
know.
don't fix you and heal you and find out again, like I'm so big on finding out who you are, and you got to love you first. And that's really what it comes down to at the bottom. At the end of the day, you only have
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
to, put your head on the pillow.
And you know what? And you're right. You are the most important. And another thing to remember and keep in mind is that people will treat you the way you show them how it's acceptable to treat you. So if you're going to continue being treated like with disrespect and being treated like a doormat and being bullied and being trolled because that's how you've showed your partner how to treat you, he's going to continuously treat you like that because you show him that it's okay. You can treat me like shit and it's okay because I'm still going to be here in the morning and I love you. So
Hmm.
when you find your self-worth, which is not easy to find. I'm not going to say you're going to wake up one morning and go, hey, look at me, I'm all brave and courageous, because it doesn't work like that. But when you find your self-worth and esteem and confidence and all that, then you can go, you know what? No, you don't have the right to treat me like that anymore. So either smarten up or see you later. And it's not until we get to that point, Patty, that that's going to happen. So we will continue to let, the alcoholics in our lives, the bullies in our lives, the narcissists, we're going to continue to let these people treat us like that because we've already shown them it's perfectly okay. You can treat me like shit. Have at it. Have fun. We showed
Yeah.
them. Yeah, we've
Hmm.
completely shown them how to do that. So you finally left. Yay, Patty. You finally left your crazy, raging alcoholic husband. So, what was your healing journey for you? Like, once you finally had your own place and you moved out? Because I know for me, the first year for me was like, who am I? What am I doing? Oh my God, this is hard. Oh, I don't know what to do. Oh my, I'm crying. And I mean, it was an ugly, messy, ridiculous journey of self healing. So, what was your first year healing journey like for you?
The first year was, I probably drank and partied a little too much because I didn't really ever have that opportunity because he was always drinking and stuff. So I didn't really, like, I was always the driver. And so
Right.
I laugh. I was like, we drank a little too much, but I slept a lot too, like, because I didn't have that.
Yeah.
Like, I need my rest. And it sounds so silly, but it's like I needed to recover and
Yeah.
heal my body from all of that. So, and then again, I started still doing more soul work of like what I want, how do I want my life to be, and still working with the vision boards on, that next step. Probably that 1 year is the one vision board that didn't really transpire into, because I didn't even really know what I wanted at that point. I was just happy just in my apartment, like in peace, and like having, it's nice to come home and, whatever you left there is there. Like,
no kidding. Hey, I know.
it's fabulous. I should have did it so much sooner. But again, you don't know. It happens when it happens. Like you can't go back and say I should have, could have, would have, or I should have did it sooner. It happened because it happened, and for whatever reason, this is how it was supposed to go down. And the angels, like everything aligned when the house literally got sold in the one weekend. It was like it all lined up. The apartment that I was able to get lined up, like every single thing, like the angels and God was totally on my side, and they still are on my side. But it just really just worked out for me that, and that the crazy thing is the one picture on my vision board was where I wanted to live was like a very like cement kind of house and a lot of flowers around, and the house I live in is like kind of cement, which is kind of weird. And I didn't see it until like later on. I was like, oh look, this kind of looks like the house now. So so it's great to have that where you feel the progress in your life. Like now I could look back and be like, wow, I really come far. And there's a lot of times I think when you're in that healing process that you don't even realize how far you've come to, especially to this point. Like I have never been happier in my entire life at this point as I sit here and talk to you today. It's crazy.
I totally get that. And it's funny when you talk about the universe lining up and all that. I remember when I left my ex back in like 2012, no, 13, I don't know. Like, I mean, I had just declared bankruptcy. I didn't have any belongings. I didn't have money for an apartment. I didn't have a job. Like I had fucking nothing. And I'm like, you know what, dude? I'm like, I gotta go. I can't live with you anymore. I seriously need to leave. And I mean, I felt like throwing up every minute of every day because I had nothing. And the universe just kind of went, oh, you finally left him. Come on, have I got a surprise for you? I got a job. I got people lend me money for first and last month's rent. I found a great apartment. People came out of the woodwork and donated things. Oh, this girl had, oh, I got these things as a wedding gift and I already have them. So you can have them, like new glass. Like, I mean, everything just showed up at my door and I'm like, wow, like the universe is amazing. Like it's amazing.
It is. And one of the things that you find is like when I'm going back to when I was sick with the migraines and stuff like that, I think it was Laura's canon. Like sometimes if you're not listening to your intuition, your body's going to tell you differently.
Yeah.
At that point, my body was saying, listen, you cannot have the stress anymore. This stress is going to kill you.
Yeah.
So like again, the universe, you have to really believe your intuition and follow your, your intuitions. And I know I said that, but it's like,
you have to have faith.
You do have to have faith, and you just have to believe that it's gonna, and once you put that vision out, like it's that manifestation too of like putting that vision out, like you want better for yourself. So then you just strive for better too.
Yeah. And you know what? I don't know if you follow Abraham Hicks at all, but they always say what you want wants you too. Like it does. Like if you want to be happy and you want to have all of these things, put it out and the universe will bring it back to you because it is trying to find you, but you keep blocking it because you have all these things. And whether it could be as simple as limiting beliefs, but you have all these things blocking what you want from coming to you because you keep thinking, oh, I want this, but I'm not good enough. I'm not ready. I can't, I won't. So what you want is on the other side of this wall and it's going, okay, shut up. Can you just break down the wall and let us come to you? Because we really want to be, and you're like, oh, well, no, I can't. And so people just need to bust down all your walls, break out of your cage, throw the key away, put out to the universe or God or the great pumpkin or Santa Claus or whoever you believe in, just put it out there and go, this is what I want and this is what I deserve. And then sit back and watch your mind be blown. Because that's what happens.
Yeah, it's so crazy how it does like when you put it out there on like, and that's been really how my journey has been for the last like 2 years
I
going
love
forward. I mean,
that.
COVID kind of like screwed up a little bit because that really
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
helped do a lot of digging. Like, and I do word affirmations, and for 2020, my word was adventure. I'm like, yeah, I'm
Nice.
thinking like I'm traveling, I'm going here, I go, no, I'm
Yeah,
like
right.
sitting on the couch doing a spiritual journey. I'm thinking like, but it was probably the best time invested in me. Like I hated exercise. Like I started exercising more. I just started
Good,
respecting my body and like
good.
again appreciating who I am and doing what I want to do and make me happy. Like, and if
Love
I don't
it.
love, and when you're talking like with the exes and stuff like that, there comes a point where it's like I love you, but I love me more,
Yeah.
and it's time for me to move on. So
Yeah. And I think a lot of women, I'm just saying, I'm just putting this out there. I'm not, I hate to stereotype or generalize, but I think a lot of women don't want to leave. Well, oh, he's going to be lost without me. What's he going to do without me? I can't leave him. He needs me. He doesn't fucking need you. You need you. He
right,
doesn't, what he needs is a kick in the pants. You
right.
need you and smart because we're people pleasers, right? We want to make everybody happy. I can't leave him. And, he's going to be lost without me. And how's his life going to be without me? Who gives a shit?
Right. You don't care that
It's
like
not
any
your life.
to me, like any of
Yeah.
that that you did. I forgot what I was gonna say.
Sorry.
No. It's something that you were saying about being a people pleaser, and it's
Yeah.
like it's terrible to be a people pleaser. It's like
It's soul sucking.
it's
It's so,
totally
it is. And, and I just, the other day, cause, I make quotes and all that stuff. And one of my favorite quotes in the whole wide world is don't set yourself on fire to keep other people warm.
yeah,
Like, don't do that. Like, you're torching yourself for nothing. Set your own soul afire. Like, fan your own flames. Like
exactly.
shine the way you're supposed to shine for you, not for everybody else. Like, you need to live your life for you. And unfortunately, well, I shouldn't say unfortunately, but most women, we don't get to that point. We don't realize that till like we're in our late 40s, early 50s, and we left our jerk off husbands. And finally, we're like 50, 55, and we're like, hallelujah, we finally did it. I mean, so it's never too late. Like, honest to God, it's never too late. Like, if you've been thinking about it's time to go, pack your shit and go.
Right.
Like, seriously.
One of the things you asked about like leaving and stuff like that, and I did kind of take my marriage vows a little serious. Like, it's like it's not always easy, and I have like an
Sure.
80 rule, like 80% good, 20% bad, and I could deal with it if he was working and he trying to help himself and stuff like that. Like it probably wouldn't have ended, but it's like when you just keep giving me now
Yeah.
instead of 80-20, you're giving me 80 bad, and like
Yeah.
you can't. And like a lot of people are so quick to just like walk out on marriages for less than that, and it's
Yeah.
like I wish I had the balls to maybe do it sooner, but again, coulda, shoulda, woulda, it's
It is what it
not
is.
how it went.
Yeah, it is what it is. So if you had to, we're gonna just close now, but I always like to close with one thing. So if you had to, if there's any woman watching right now who's in a relationship or in a marriage where her husband, or maybe guy too, or where your partner is an alcoholic and you want to leave, or you're not sure, or you've just left an alcoholic partner, and you're battling with your own self-confidence, self-esteem, what have you, Patti, what one piece of advice would you give any woman right now who's struggling with that, all her emotions and everything like that? What would you tell her right now?
I really think journaling helps put things on paper and helps you be more clear on what you want to do, and don't be afraid to do it. Like, and it's scary, it's very, and listen, there's certain situations where it's really abusive and violent and stuff like that, and that we're talking like if you have you have a job and stuff like that. And one of the other things is make sure you have your own money, make sure you have your own car, like try to, and again, have that plan before you move on to get out of your situation. Just don't walk away if you don't have to. If you've already been dealing with it for this long, what's another like 6 months going to be at this point if it's not like that violent and stuff? But journaling, I think meditation is huge. One of the things that I did learn over the last 6 months was transcendental meditation,
Ah,
which is
cool.
huge. It's such a life changer. And I recommend it for everybody just to meditate just in general. But if whatever you could do to quiet your mind, things come to you and stuff like that, and just put you first. and make that list of how, the 100 things you like about you or whatever, and see where you fit on that list.
I love that. I want to do that too. I've never even heard of that before, actually.
Really? Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Do it. Just get a piece of paper and write it. You don't even have to do 100. You could do 50 things.
I
Like,
love
just,
that.
and it really helped me see what I really liked. Like, and the things that you like, oh, sunsets and fireworks, but
Yeah, 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 right.
once you start getting into it, then you're like,
Yeah,
oh, what really do I like? Like,
yeah,
and just try to like do things to help your, like, please your soul. Like if you like to craft, you like to run, like, like
yeah,
just try to put you first before the other person. And I know that's hard as women. We have husbands, we have kids, we have job
yeah. Doesn't
responsibilities,
matter.
but
You still
if
have to
you
do it.
ain't happy, nobody else is going to be happy. And if
That's
you can't
exactly
love
right.
yourself, who else is going to love you?
That's exactly right. You're absolutely right. Thank you so much, Patty. You are just like, you're all like a ray of sunshine, and you can feel like your self-confidence and how happy you are. Thank you so much for sharing your story. I'm so glad that you got out of that relationship, and look at you now. You're like just glowing. You're awesome. So thank you so much for sharing your story. Um, I would. Do you have a link? Do you have a link to a site or something? Don't you do
Yeah,
online work?
I'll stick it on the You Do and You is I actually became a life coach and specialize in happiness through creative expression. So yeah, I could put my link in the
You
what you call it in
do.
chat.
Right. I gotta check that out again too. So yeah, so Patty will drop, you can go ahead and she will drop her link in the thread below. Thank you so much, Patty. Again, I love you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for sharing your story, and please keep in touch.
Thank you for having me. This was a great opportunity to share, and I hope, like, if we could help one person, it's worth every cent that was spent. Thank you
Absolutely.
very much. Have a
Thanks,
great
Patty.
day.
Bye.
Bye.